Hi everyone, welcome to the third devlog. The last devlog was mainly about overhauling the navigation system. At that time, the building system hadn't been refactored yet, so later I posted two more videos about the building system to briefly showcase the building system based on the new navigation. In this video, besides demonstrating the current state of pathfinding and building more thoroughly, more importantly, I have finally implemented a basic game loop that goes from gathering and storing resources to crafting items and constructing buildings. It's still pretty simple, but I have finally started making progress on actual gameplay. So let's just jump right in and go through the process. Here I have created a new world, and we have 5 colonies here. Our goal is to build 2 houses, a carpenter's workshop, and a dormitory. So first, the obvious first step is to chop some trees. So I will assign them to chop trees. And since this involves tree chopping, I took the chance to improve the tree generation a bit. But the overall terrain generation will still needs to be optimized later. I also tweaked the block textures a little. Things should look better than before. The UI is still in a pretty simple state. After all, it's mainly just for myself right now. Okay, so now we have gathered some wood. Next, let's have them store it. I will mark a stockpile here. Good, the colonies are storing items here. And because my building blueprint uses stone bricks for the floor, so I also need to have them mine some stone. So for example, have them dig out this area. Let's speed up. Okay, now the stone is also here. Now we have the basic resources. Next, let's start building. But before building, we still need to craft the required items. For example, for this house, besides logs, we will need a lot of planks and various pieces of furniture. Those require a carpenter. We will also need some stone bricks for the floor, which require a mason. So first let's assign professions. I haven't implemented profession switching items yet, so I will just manually assign them for now. Here is a carpenter and a mason. Now let's open the order panel. This is where you manage orders for all professions. Right now we only have carpenter and mason. On the left, you can see all available crafting recipes. So basically the first thing we need is to turn the logs and stone we just gathered into planks and some stone bricks. But before that, we first need to craft the carpenters and the masons' workbenches. So let's craft one of each. Crafting a workbench doesn't require a workbench for sure. And because we don't have a direct item placement feature yet, I will manually place these 2 workbenches. Then let's add some basic orders. Make some planks and stone bricks. Let them start crafting. You can see these 2 colonies are now crafting, and here we have our freshly made planks and stone bricks. Okay, now let's place the blueprint. Let's put it right here. Then let the colonies start working. If I click on the blueprint, we can see the real-time material status. Based on that, I will keep adding more craft orders. So for instance, we need a bed, a chest, a door, a dresser, and windows. So planks are probably not enough either. Let's just make some more. Okay, so the mason has nothing else to do, so let him keep crafting. I will turn off the blueprint ghost preview and speed up. So meanwhile, you can see colonists are now automatically placing ladders. The scaffolding is still fairly simple for now, but since our building system has a solid foundation, it isn't heavily dependent on scaffolding or ladders, so this works well enough for now. Let's speed up a little more. Okay, they are removing ladders now. Okay, now when the panel in the bottom left corner disappears, that means the carpenter's workshop is officially complete. It's pretty simple, a bed and two workbenches and a crate here. So this crate can also store items. It's a type of container block. Next, let's go ahead and build the dormitory. Let's put it here. Now, this requires a lot more materials, so let's add some basic craft orders first. And since we already have workbenches here, let's remove the two manually placed ones. Also, to improve efficiency, let's move the storage area. We place a new one here and then delete the old one. Then the colonists will move items over. Okay. Now again with orders. But first you can see we already don't have much logs, so let's have them chop more trees. And planks are also not enough. Let's make more. Stone bricks are fine. So let's craft some beds, chairs, and doors, etc. Let's go with that for now. Now regarding material consumption logic during construction. Most games like RimWorld typically allocate materials to the construction task first, forming a kind of framework, and then other colonists can build. In my system, colonists are required to carry the materials on themselves, and when placing blocks, let me select one. Okay. They first need to go fetch the items, and then consume the resources they are carrying when placing blocks. That's also how Stonehearth does it. This way, when we later allow players to directly control their own colonists and do work manually, the interaction logic will be consistent. Also, you can see colonists now carry resources for multiple blocks at once. This minimizes the number of trips back and forth for materials, but overall AI behavior still has a long way to go. This is only a very early version. Still, the results in normal situations are acceptable. The main issue is near the end of construction, where you still see repeated trips for materials. So let's add some more materials. Let's see. So we need some dresser and tables and windows, windows, and windows. So the UI really looks terrible right now. But eventually I will add a feature that automatically creates the required craft orders when you place a blueprint. I just haven't implemented it yet. So materials should be about enough. Are they enough? Planks are probably still insufficient. Let's add more just in case. And just to be safe, let's have them chop more trees. So materials should be enough now. Let's just go to 100 speed. Wait, are they enough? We are missing 2 crates. Okay. Alright, so now we can see that this one is also complete. So it's a basic dormitory. And there are some crates here, though they are empty. But the crates over here do have items. So great, we have successfully achieved our goal. Both houses have been built successfully. Now for the next part, let's purely showcase the building system. Earlier I posted 2 videos about the building system, but back then I was only building giant dirt blocks, so this time let's try some real architecture. First is a large castle. Well, I wanted to build a castle, but I'm really not good at building, so in the end I just built the wall. But that's fine, this wall is already quite large, and we could also build more structures inside this wall. And this time no resources are required, and we have a total of 20 colonists. Let's have them finish the wall first. Okay, now the wall is completed. So next we can place some of those earlier blueprints inside. Let's keep the speed at 100 and see how fast colonists can complete a blueprint after placing it down. See, it's really fast. It's done almost instantly. Now let's try the other one, the dormitory. Okay, also done very quickly. Now let's lower the speed and place a bunch more blueprints. I need to turn the ghost preview back on now. Then just place multiple houses randomly. Okay, now we have placed the blueprints, then let's set the speed back to 100. Wow, this is kind of laggy because they are placing blocks so fast. Okay, so you can see everything is built successfully without any issue and very quickly. Alright, so that's the main demo section. Now let's quickly go over the technical progress during this period. First about navigation. The navigation mesh is now essentially complete. is generated from even smaller voxels, providing higher precision and better performance. I also optimized the client-side rendering of the navigation mesh. Now we can see mesh updates in real time. I also added corridor constraints to colonist movement to prevent them from deviating off the path due to physics and falling into unreachable areas. As for the building system, thanks to the fast updating navigation mesh, the current building system maintains global correctness while keeping performance overhead nicely localized. It can handle blueprints of various sizes and structures with good performance. However, the scaffolding system still needs improvement, so its ability to unlock unreachable targets, as well as construction efficiency and visual neatness, can be further improved. For AI, the current main approach is fast priority indexing for same type of jobs and utility score ranking for different jobs, and HTN-style online decomposition and execution. This provides good flexibility and scalability, and performance overhead remains manageable even under heavy task loads. For the physics system, I optimized the performance and added sleep to prevent dropped items from consuming too many resources. On the block part, I added some new block types, including functional blocks like workbenches and containers, as well as animated blocks like doors. I also need to say a few words about the game engine. Right now I'm using Unity, so using Unity for development is technically very suitable. However, for some well-known reasons, the risk of releasing the game with Unity is too high for me. So I have actually been planning to switch to another engine for a while, but I didn't want to interrupt the development, so I have been putting it off. Now is probably the right time, so I'm going to migrate the entire project to Godot. If all goes well, I will continue development with Godot from then on. So migrating this project is actually relatively easy because its architecture is separated server and client. The entire server part, or the core game logic, has no coupling with the engine. That includes physics, navigation, AI, event systems, network, and so on. I implemented all of those myself. The parts that rely on the engine are mainly UI, rendering, and some editor tools, and I have been intentionally avoiding deep work on those for now. But as progress continues, I have to push forward on those areas. So if I'm going to switch engines, it has to be now. Alright, that's all for this dialogue. Next, I will first focus on the engine migration. After that, I will optimize word generation and start developing mining and farming features. Thank you so much for watching this far. Actually, I mainly post Chinese videos on Bilibili, but for every episode, I also make an English version myself and upload it here. Since I'm not a native English speaker, please forgive me if anything sounds unnatural or incorrect. If you have any thoughts or suggestions, please feel free to leave a comment. Thanks again for watching and see you in the next video.